Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 21 of the 72 review. We're back to us first team lineup. All three of us are here. I've got Jake to my left, Ian below me. We'll start with Jake. Punk Chef 41. Tell the viewers, anybody who's here who's not seen us before, who you are and what you do.
Well, I'll start with a little interlude, shall I? So, this is the EFL 72 review with Dan, 18 Dapper, myself, Punk Chef 41 Jake, Ian Bradley down below. We talk about football. We might talk about a bit of nonsense, but at the end of the day, we do a good job and we think we're better than the ITV lot, in our humble opinions. I am Punk Chef 41. I have my own Sheffield Wednesday channel, which I talk about also in Wednesday. Last week, I wasn't here because I was filming the 100th episode of the Talking Wednesday podcast. Me, Jack, Dex, we managed to go for about 4 hours. So if you managed to do 4 hours of listening to it, well done. And yeah, we just keep going on what we're doing. And yeah, I might keep this going for Ian's little interlude.
That was wonderful. It's not just any EFL show. It is an M&S EFL show. Ian, let people know who you are and what you do.
I don't know how anybody can spend 4 hours talking about Sheffield Wednesday, but there you go. I'm Ian, 60-odd-year-old, Miller's season ticket holder, Rotherham fan for 50-plus years, and I also do, when the Millers are away, I'm all over the country vlogging for Over the Bar YouTube channel. If you've got a spare 5 minutes, I've done quite a good one from Stevenage yesterday in the top of the table game with Leyton Orient. And I think it's turned out pretty well. So if Dan could leave a link to that, I'd appreciate it. Yeah.
Link to Over the Bar and Punk Chef 41 is in the description.
Thank you very
down
much.
Below, as always. But yeah, let's get into this one this week. A lot of games fell due to the weather, so there's not a full fixture list to go through, but I'm sure we'll still get an hour out of it. Running order, as always, we'll let you know. We're going through Championship, League One, and then we'll finish off in League Two, where there was only 3 games. As always, get your comments in. That does drive the conversation quite a bit as we go through, and it does send us off on tangents. So yeah, get your comments in. And we'll try.
ACID, I need to send you a cease and desist. The massive tag is for Sheffield Wednesday only.
Yeah, so we've got ATID already. Massive. Seeing it during the premiere, Ian. So ATID has already watched your vlog. You've got a bit of support there, which is
nice
great.
One. During the premiere, that's a real fan. That's good.
Yeah,
it's nice to have real fans, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let's get started straight away with the Championship.
You got the sticker?
Yeah, let's get the banner on, which I totally forgot last week. It's just a shambles, isn't it? It's not just any EFL show. It's an absolute shambles. So the Championship fixtures are going along the bottom. Only one game fell due to the weather, and that was Blackpool against Huddersfield. I don't think anybody can be surprised at that because it's cold.
Blackpool in January. Racing, to say the least.
Massive.
Just wait until Tuesday, mate.
Yeah.
So there is a big game coming up, but we'll talk about that when we get to League One. We will start with a fantastic result for Rotherham away at Watford. Ian, talk us through this one. We know you were at Stevenage.
Well, obviously
yesterday.
I were elsewhere, so I didn't get to see the game, but an unexpected and very, very welcome point there against a team who were very strong at Vicarage Road. And it looks from the stats like we had a good share of the game as well. Tariq Fossil's coming on loan from Brentford. He were on loan at Stoke in the first half of the season, and we're playing him. He were playing wing back at Stoke, but we're playing him further forward as like a supplementary striker, and he had opportunities. Our goal came from a Fossil shot that were parried by the keeper, and Shane Ferguson just controlled himself, controlled the ball, steadied himself and fired it in with his left foot, 1-0 up. Great. Obviously, Victor Johansson had plenty to do, our goalkeeper, but he did it very well, as he normally does. And we just got beaten by a good shot from the Watford fullback, who placed it well from outside the area. And that was 50-odd minutes. So we had more than half an hour to survive a Watford team that were on form. But we did it fairly comfortably, and we had chances of our own. So, yeah, I'm extremely happy with that point.
Yeah, so he should be. Do you think it's starting to click a little bit now? Or is it a bit too early to tell?
When you consider that we were in really poor form and we just got blasted 4-1 at Ipswich in the Cup, but the next two games, both against clubs in the top 6, and we got 4 points. A 4-0 win against Watford, Blackburn, and a 1-1 draw at Watford. So, yeah, it looks like his ideas are starting to take shape, and he's starting to get his own players in. Sean Morrison at centre-backs made a difference. Leo Hielder at left wing-backs made a difference. They're coming on loan from Leeds. And now we've got Fosso, and there might be more incomings in the next week. So, yeah, very encouraging. Very encouraging.
It's a good start to finally seeing you get that kind of progression that you wanted. And I think you got enough, especially if you get the right players in again. I think you got enough to stay up and be a championship team this year.
Obviously, I hope so, Jake. Yeah, and I think we have. Yes, I do think we have, because you've always got to think of the 3 worst teams in the league than we are, than Rotherham. And I think they are. I won't name them because I don't want to upset the fans of the clubs involved.
Well, if any of the fans of the clubs involved, we are.
But yeah, I do think we'll stay up. Probably it might even go to the last day, and our last fixture is Wigan away.
Oh,
couldn't ask for a better fixture, in my opinion, with the way that they're looking at the minute.
Yeah, well, they do look a mess at the moment. Yeah,
they may have another manager change by that point.
Yeah. That's just coming to the chat saying, hopefully we'll join you next season.
Yes, I'd love to resume rivalry with Wednesday in the championship next season. That'd be great.
Be nice, because we're probably going to miss out on our Steel City derby because they're going to go up.
Yeah. Well, you see, that's one thing we're missing this season, Jake, and that's our annual 3 points at Hillsborough.
Yeah, but the difference is the man who used to get you all 3 points is now playing for us.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, that's right, Smithy. You might forget and bang a couple of own goals in.
So 80 Ideas just said, while we're discussing championship, can we mention that Bristol City, who should have had a penalty yesterday, have now gone 423 days without being awarded a penalty in the league.
Wow.
1 penalty in 1,000 days.
That's incredible.
That's some stat, isn't it?
Pearson must be tearing his hair out.
Yeah, definitely.
That is ranked bad luck.
Games, don't they?
To be fair, it would, like I said, I still think he will quit football at the end of the season. I think he's just so disheartened by it. Every interview you hear from him, he just doesn't seem like he wants it anymore.
No, I think once you're at that point,
but you can't argue with him. I mean,
no, you can't argue with him.
Bristol City will comfortably stay up. They probably won't. They'll be mid-table. Yeah. I mean, they came to our place recently, early January, and they tore us a new one. So they've got players that can play.
They're a funny team. They are a funny team because they are not consistent enough, but they'll go on these mini little runs and then it'll go to like dross again.
When you've got players like Semenyo, you've got that Conway, who's a decent player, as a more than decent player, and you've got Naki Wells, who'll score goals anywhere. Yeah. So they've got a competitive championship side.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Ian, you mentioned are there 3 worse teams in the league than Rotherham?
Yes, they are.
Potentially one of these 2 from the postponed game.
Let's just talk about this one because Blackpool's now got Mick McCarthy involved as manager. Something that came out the blue for me because I thought he was done with management full stop. Mick McCarthy and Blackpool are made in heaven.
Yes, I agree.
How they are. It reminds me of the Ian Holloway style thing. He'll get the area, he'll get the culture, he'll get the place, and he'll be able to probably get those contacts in and get the right players in. The thing with Huddersfield, they just look the shadow of themselves. They just don't look like the team that they were 12 months ago. They should have turned around and said, you're not going, or sacked the manager who's now at West Brom. they've made some terrible decisions behind the scenes, and that's what cost them.
Yeah. So potentially Huddersfield could be one of those that we're talking about being worse than Rotherham.
Yeah, like Jake said, McCarthy and Blackpool just look destined, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bit like a few seasons ago when Warnock came to us when we were dead and buried, and he got us. He made us survive, and how he did that, I do not know, because he just galvanised the players.
Yeah,
and McCarthy's got that in his locker.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think for me, Cardiff could be one of those teams that finish below this season.
I can see why they recalled Mark McGuinness from us, because defensively they are shocking. But the problem is, if they go for Warnock again, it's a short-term fix for a long-term project.
Yeah.
The problem is,
to be honest, do you think Warnock could be interested in going back there?
He said he would go back. I think he said outright that he might go back. But the problem is, it's still a short-term fix. They need a long-term vision. And the problem is with everything that's happened with the transfer embargo that they've been under, which is now lifted because they've made the payments. If you're a Cardiff fan, I apologise. I just still think it's wrong. You should have made the payment straight away. Paying it shouldn't just automatically lift it. And I also think it was a bit cheeky putting up a picture of him on the day to remember him. I know you're trying to remember him, but after everything you've just been through January, as an outside looking in, it felt a bit sick in the sense of like it felt like someone at the social media team should have just gone, this probably isn't the right idea to do it now, even though the fans had nothing to do with it. With everything you've just been through, it doesn't fit well.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right, does it?
No, but they need to figure out what they're going to be doing after this. They need to get a manager in quick. But who's going to go work for him? Tan's a nutter.
I think
he's an absolute mentalist.
Anybody that goes in there is working with their ice time behind the back, aren't they, really?
Yeah. I think that's it, the head on the nail on the head here. Appointing Warnock, it's not really taking the team forward, is it?
Appointing Hudson was the wrong decision. It's like it was the cheap option. There's like lots of good managers out there you could have gone and got.
Yeah.
Definitely. Another team that is on my radar is Birmingham. On this result, 2 early goals piled on the misery for Birmingham, and it led them to the 5th straight defeat in the league. It's one of those teams that just seems lacking in confidence and can't really get out of the rut that they're in. Would you see Birmingham as one of those who could get dragged into it quite easily over the next couple of weeks?
Very possibly. I mean, they've got behind the scenes issues with the ground and everything, because it looks like the whole bottom tier of St Andrews isn't being used.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's safety concerns or what.
They started doing some stadium work, and then I think one of their many takeovers have fallen through again. They seem like a club who's destined to just survive being in the Championship before they get relegated to League One. They've been like it for the last couple of seasons. It's another club that doesn't seem to have a long-term vision. It's short-term planning for short-term gain. Now, they need to figure out what their ownership model is, because I haven't got a clue. He's hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
he has.
They do tend to, don't they?
My issue here is a Plymouth fan. If they get a new manager in, he sees what they're doing with Sam Cosgrove, they can't go, they call him back. Granted, the manager has said that he doesn't want him to go, but if someone else new comes in, it changes it. Because you have managers who want to have a look at all players. Like there was the time when Chris Wilder got the Middlesbrough job, he called all the loan players back because he wanted to have a look at them. And I think it's one of those things, when you're a new manager, you want to have a look at what you've got. If you know there's a play out there.
That could well happen.
Fergie's done that at Peterborough, hasn't he?
Yeah. It's Birmingham was the one where you want them to stay up, but with what going again, it's another club. That thing behind the scenes is what's wrecking their reputation.
Yeah. And they've got one of the most passionate fan bases there is.
God,
yeah, we are to doubt that. I mean, they're packed at our place.
They pack every day they go.
Yeah.
Everywhere they go, they pack it, and
that
it's
keep
always,
right
it's
on
always
anthem.
good,
It's bloody
always
annoying.
good banter with Birmingham fans as well. It's always good banter.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in trouble. They're definitely in trouble.
I'm not sure how this works because I thought there was always a recall on loans.
I thought there was.
If
they've missed the deadline, they've missed the deadline. Fair play to you.
Yeah.
I weren't aware that there were a deadline either.
Unless that's a deadline that Plymouth have put or Birmingham put him. So if that is the case, then you keep him. But just it's one of the ones that you have to be careful because deadline can get broken.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about Norwich. I may
go for it
because this was a mental game. This was absolutely mental.
Weren't it 3-2 after about half an hour?
Yeah. It was just like both teams couldn't defend to save their lives. But Norwich with Wagner, this reminds me of Huddersfield when they had him. Because they used to score a lot of goals, but they used to concede a lot. They never were the team that kept a lot of clean sheets. And by the way,
for the paying customer, Jake.
By the way, surprise for you.
Nice one, that. Yeah. Good old deal here.
It's an interesting one because if Wagner can get them playing the football we've seen him do in the Championship in the past, this next last couple of run to the end of the season could completely change it. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Oh, I watched that Liverpool-Chelsea game. It was so boring.
I were on a trade. I think I looked out there.
The other team that I wanted to talk about at the wrong end of the table was Wigan. Kolo Touré, it's just not quite happening for him. He's not got his first win yet, has he?
No.
Do you think the pressure's already piling on him, or do you think Wigan will stick by him and give him an opportunity to kind of start making things work the way that he wants to?
I think they should have. I personally think they should have gone for Liam Manning instead of Kolo Touré.
Yeah,
he's already
a bit more sensible.
He's already a manager with a bit of experience.
Yeah, because Touré's got no pedigree at all, really, as a coach.
It's his name, isn't it?
It's his name, definitely. It's his name. Also, I mean, they were unlucky because Luton are a fine team, especially when they go forward. They're a fine footballing side. But Wigan just look a mess at the moment. They just look like they're going to concede every time the ball reaches the halfway line. Nothing up front. I mean, one shot on target at home in 90 minutes. No, it could be a politically correct decision, right? Yeah.
It's one of those ones where you look at it and I'm all for giving managers of starting out a start. Don't get me wrong.
They've got to start somewhere.
They've got to start somewhere. Wigan is probably a good starting block for him in terms of what's going on, but not in the position they're in.
No.
The thing is, I think if you're starting management, sometimes it's better to go lower league, go through it that way.
I agree there.
Look at Joey Barton. He's never gone higher than League One or League Two. Because
really, maybe if Wigan were mid-table and comfortable mid-table, it might have been a sensible decision.
Yeah.
But not in the position that they're in, next to bottom.
I'll throw Danny Schofield's name in there. I think he were at Huddersfield at the start of the season. It clearly didn't work for whatever reason there, be it off-field issues or sold all the players, however you want to look at it.
The job were probably too big for him, Dan.
Maybe. But like you say, coaches and managers need to start somewhere. Huddersfield gave him that opportunity, but I think maybe that level is just too high to start at. It's come to Donny, and we're not pulling trees up. We're still inconsistent, but I think we're starting to see a style of play. I say we're starting to see a style of play. We've not played in about 5 weeks.
Like I said, he's got half a season and he's got a summer transfer window, then start to judge it.
Yeah. But I think League Two, League One should be the level where coaches and managers get that first opportunity.
In the Premier League, he got Southampton playing now. First couple of games wasn't great, but they're starting to look like they can get out of that and stay out of it. Now, he's done his bits and pieces. He always went back to Luton, but he's done his bits and pieces where you can go, he's actually a damn good manager. I think he would have won the next level. When they first appointed, I thought, what are you doing appointing him? It's a championship manager. But if he can get given the opportunity, and we're also getting into a field now where you can't keep going for a Neil Warnock, a Steve Bruce, a Mick McCarthy. You have to now start looking at the next breed. Like when Darren Moore came down from the Premier League with West Brom, when they sacked him at being fourth, he had them playing great football.
Yeah, I thought that was harsh, to be fair.
It was a hard decision, but I think they've got to find ways of doing it. Like if you look at Sheffield United, they've done well getting Heckenbach in. I first saw that point and think that's absolutely stupid, but he knows the club, he knows the culture, getting it right, and he's done stuff before. Now, it's interesting if you're looking at things in the financial stuff. Sheffield United are now got a transfer embargo due to unpaid transfer fees.
What is wrong with these people not paying up?
The EFL said, I think we spoke about it, Dan. It was either last season or 2 seasons ago. They said there was a lot of clubs who were about to get hit with embargoes for stuff. They warned us that this was coming. Like, this is why, as much as it frustrates Rotherham fans, they never bend above the pay grade because they know they can't. They always know what they are. And I think sometimes...
And that's what makes us sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's what...
And this is what Donny are trying to do. But the problem is with the way Donny's doing it, where you are, you don't see where it is. And especially if you turn around and say, we want promotion, people see promotion with signing players, getting players in, getting the right management. And that's the problem.
Yeah, it is.
I'd agree with that.
I went on a bit of a tangent. Sorry.
I think the ambition.
No, you're absolutely right.
Investment. I think what Donny are trying to do provides a really good foundation, but I think at our level to go up.
Investment in the playing staff's all right, and fans can, because we have Millers fans. Why don't Tony Stewart spend big? Because we don't want to bankrupt the club, and we've seen too many examples of owners putting clubs in financial turmoil for trying to get the quick fix and the promotion or whatever.
We don't want to be in that position. I have to swear, and I'm using my swear button. Can't stand that, man.
But on managers, we'll try and bring it back a little bit. We've gone off on a tangent. Nat has said, compare Barton to Lampard. Barton's learning his trade at lower leagues while Lampard gets plum jobs just because of his name. In Nat's opinion, Barton is a better manager.
To be fair to Frank Lampard, he did fairly well at Derby.
Yeah, when Chelsea came knocking, he was always going to go, and I think,
of course,
I think also him getting sacked by Chelsea was a bit of a bad thing for him because I think he was actually doing okay.
Yeah,
but Chelsea. The problem is he should have stayed at Derby. He stayed at Derby another season, he probably gets them promoted.
That's right, because he's learning his trade there.
And if he gets them promoted, Derby are not in the financial mess they're in now.
No, true. So, having a quick look at the table before we move on to League One. The 4 teams that we mentioned, Birmingham, Cardiff, Huddersfield and Wigan, all in and around it. Rotherham, smack bang there. But I think you guys will be all right. I really do.
We've got a 5-point gap now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, our next game is at home to the Blades.
Oof.
You did well last time.
Yeah, we did. Hey, it would be great if we to do the double over them, though. Fantastic, that.
If you do the double over them, Ian, you have to have double cups of tea on the show next week.
Not a problem.
I think if you do the double over Sheffield United, I think there'll be a lot of Sheffield Wednesday fans happy.
It'll be the one time we're happy for Rotherham.
I knew there were a downside to that.
I think if you can help prevent Sheffield United from getting automatic promotion with the Championship as well.
To be honest with you, I mean, even if we beat them, they're going up. There's absolutely no danger of that.
Are up. It's already a foregone conclusion.
It's a 2-horse race.
Got Twine free kick. Oh, what
a strike that was.
Where's he been all season? Injured. He comes on the pitch and does that.
Yeah.
To go, hi, I'm back. See you later.
Well, no, they left it late, didn't they? On Friday,
I think he might get a few more games now.
Yeah. Well, I messaged Moore and he said he hasn't stopped putting the tissues away. So take of that what you will.
I don't think he's crying.
No.
Hey, that was a hell of a result for Sunderland today and all, beating Borough, weren't it?
It was
Yeah,
a
which
stupid
has
red
tightened it
card.
up at the top end of the table as well, hasn't it?
Yeah.
The playoff picture.
What is it?
Anybody's,
It's
isn't
7 points, isn't it? From there to like playoffs or something daft.
Crazily
Tight.
tight. Like we say, we think
Between
Burnley,
Sheffield
are the
United
two
in
that are going up.
second and Watford in third, there's what is there? 13 points.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's 4 wins and a draw.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Luton go up and they have to play Nathan Jones in the Premier League?
Oh God, yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Not many.
Did you look at it and go, that's my sodding team?
But that playoff race is going to be an absolute scrap in it because there's some good teams in there, even down to West Brom.
Millwall.
Yeah. Well, Millwall are doing well. The Sunderland who are good, and as I said, Luton are a good side, a very good side.
The fact that you've got 4 teams on 42 points is insane.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on that one for sure.
Do you know who I feel sorry for out of all this? Is QPR and Reading. QPR just dropped out when they lost Beale. It just killed whatever momentum they had. And Reading started well, and we did say we didn't think they were going to keep it up.
Look at Reading's goal difference.
Yep.
-11. Because when Reading lose, they get absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
They don't have to defend.
Yeah.
So that's Championship covered. Let's move on to League One. Let's get the banner changed over. Quite a few games fell this weekend. Bristol Rovers getting postponed against Wickham. But before we do move away from Bristol Rovers, ATI
shout out to what they did.
Big shout out to all the Gas players and huge number of the fans who have shaved their heads in for the defender.
Charlie's done it.
Yeah, wonderful. Great gesture.
That's what I was going to say. That's what team spirit's all about.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's one of those things. You look at what Bristol Rovers are. They are very much a community club with their fans, and the fact that that's happened, and it says a lot about what's going on. We hear about all these things that football players don't care or footballers don't do, and this shows the opposite. Granted, it's a teammate, but it also then shows you the level of support and respect they got for him to do that.
Yeah.
And also, if you're commentating on Bristol Rovers, please go watch Romania back in 1998 World Cup. I feel for you.
Yeah. When they all dyed their hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the one.
They all look like Eminem.
Yep.
Other games to be called off due to the weather: Morecambe against Port Vale, Peterborough against Charlton, and Lincoln against Burton.
And if I remember rightly, the Posh game was called off very, very late.
Like 90 minutes before kickoff or something. I think
not as late as the Chelsea-Liverpool game in the Women's Super League today.
Didn't one of the games get abandoned after 10 minutes?
Yeah, I think it was 7 minutes and then they abandoned it. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sheff Wednesday 1, Fleetwood 0. Jake, talk us through this one, mate.
Right, before I start this one, shout out to Nappers. Hope your knee gets better, mate. That sounds horrible, whatever you've done. If you don't know, Nappers is Cov Vlogs, and he's recently done his knee in, and he's on crutches, and he couldn't go to this game. It doesn't sound like he's going to go to many games soon because it sounds nasty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's on crutches. He could barely stand up or move.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah,
there's a lot of running though, doesn't he? And he puts in some good time. So I don't know if he's.
I wonder if he's done a running injury.
Possibly, yeah.
It's a shame because I always watch his content because he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant.
He's one of the best in League One, along with the Young Football podcast, the Oxford fan, who doing a lot of things at the minute. Those two, if they combine, they'd be superb.
Yeah, very good content creator.
Yeah. This game wasn't a classic. This game was one of those games that normally last season we probably lost because it was bitty. We had no creativity in the midfield because Byers and Bannon is injured. That's obvious. You lose those two, you miss that person who can just hit a ball without looking and know that player's there. We had an opportunity in the second half where Marvin Johnson was miles and miles in space and no one saw him. But Talking to Marvin Johnson, great ball in by Josh Windass. Gets it into Marvin Johnson, back post, volleyed it. I thought he missed it.
It was a really good strike because he could have easily put that over the bar easily.
I thought he missed it when I originally saw it. I thought it hit the stanchion. And then when they went off celebrate, I was like, oh, it got in. Brilliant. But you look at it, 14 shots, 4 on target. Wasn't a great game. We struggled in midfield. They had some good chances in the first half. Second half, similar. We had a really good positive play when Patterson came on. Patterson is subject to possibly a move to Hearts by the sounds of it, but we said we don't want him to go, and this is the reason why.
It'd be a big miss, actually, Patterson, because I rate it.
He comes on and he causes nuisance, and that's what we miss. We don't have someone who can come on and run at the keeper and then run at someone else, and those kind of players are crucial. But going into this game, Fleetwood had 18 points or so from away games. I think
which is a good return.
I think it's something stupid. They've only not scored. I think it's either they have only conceded 2, or they've not had someone go like past them or whatever in like 2 games away. Yeah. I can't remember what that was. I was too busy trying to edit when I heard it. But the thing is, what they do well is when it comes to the end of games, they're never out of it. They are never out of game because they press, they look at the mistakes, and that's what they did. Dawson had an absolutely superb save to keep us in 1-0.
They play a little bit like Scott Brown used to play as a player.
Yes, they do.
High press.
Yeah.
Cover every blade of grass. And the fact that you said it was a bitty game, it's sort of like playing into Fleetwood's hands a little bit. That, but you got through it and you got the win, and that's what promoted teams do.
It's one of the things. It's like Darren Moore at the end said it was a bitty game, it was a dogged game, but we got the 3 points, and that's all that mattered. And we had a penalty right at the end. Lee Gregory guyed it.
It happens.
Brown wasn't happy with the penalty decision, but you look at it, he laughed, man. He pulled him down. It's near the end of the game. Last kick of the game as well. So it was just like, it is what it is. But you look at this game, it's like we got another 3 points. We're like 15 or 16 games unbeaten now since we lost to Plymouth. We got that kind of careful having sense. Hello, worker, mate. He's been having a mare.
I mean, any sensible football opinion sometimes generally gets people jumping down your throat.
But
the joys of social media.
We did well. We got all 3 points. It wasn't a classic. We missed Bannon. We missed Byers. Byers hopefully should be back for the Cheltenham game. But I still kind of will play him then rest him for the FA Cup game. Because we got Fleetwood again next week. So I'm going to get sick of playing these.
Yeah, that's your buy into the 5th round, isn't it?
Yep. Well, but it'll be interesting to see what we do, because if we get that win versus Cheltenham, we technically would go above Plymouth on goal difference, which then would make the 4th of February game so interesting.
Massive. Because Cheltenham won't be easy.
No, they're not. They're very good. They're a very good team.
They play some good stuff.
They did well. They did well at the weekend. They were kind of unlucky for me, but you look at, it is. Well, ATID, we've got you and then we've got Ipswich. This is going to be the make or break of our season.
Yeah.
And we've also got Barnsley, South Yorkshire rival, some point middle of March Tuesday game. So that'll be interesting.
But like you said before we came on, if you can get 4 points out of Plymouth and Ipswich, it's virtually game over.
Yeah. It could be come March or April, it's whoever want to go first and second.
Yeah.
It could be that we can't be caught from third. But who knows?
There we go. Great result anyway. Like Ian said, getting 3 points out of games where
they're tough games. I've just seen who Plymouth have got. They're not easy.
That's rank as well, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody seems to not mention Derby in the conversation, but they really are racking up results at a rate of knots at the moment, Derby. And they're going to be a threat to anybody.
You know, with this Plymouth game, they weren't very clinical, were they?
No, so I've gone with Plymouth next because ATID's put a couple of comments in that I've not put on screen yet. Argyle versus Cheltenham, a topsy-turvy affair. Cheltenham came to play and looked a lot better than what their position says. But the Matete, Azaz, Mumba, Wright combo we've created is disgusting. Add Hardy, Mayer and Ennis into the mix and we genuinely could easily challenge Wednesday the whole way. Unfortunately, it's Argyle. So still very much on the cards as well. About
Do you know? I think even if they presented Argyle with championship trophy, I think ATID won't be happy.
We had Danny Mayer at Wednesday, and he was a good player. Then he just too early. Oh, hang on, that reminds me. What about that?
Oh, Alfie May, yeah, there we go.
Oh, we had one of them for a week or two, yeah.
But no, this game for me, I think Plymouth in the driver's seat come the 28th minute with a 2-goal lead. But Cheltenham showed what they do and
they're very good at it.
Very doggedly to keep in it. Good time to score, 40th minute, back in it just before half time. But then I think Cheltenham came out on the front foot in the second half. Plymouth
but this is the difference, though, Dan. This is Plymouth at home. At home and away, they are two different teams.
Yeah,
I'd agree with that.
Well.
It's Jekyll and Hyde. At home, they're superb. Away, something just doesn't click. But is it the travel? Is it getting down there? Because one of the things I read recently was the fact that Schumacher thanked the board for giving them a bit extra money so they could fly to Ipswich or instead of train or getting the thing. And that's something we don't think about as fans of our clubs because we're so used to being able to just get there. They have to actually think about this a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd agree
yeah, that's very true.
But
they're isolated down there, aren't they?
It's also a huge chunk of possibly transfer budget might have gone on travel.
Yeah,
possibly. Yeah. But yeah, I think,
but that's a good conversion rate. Is it 6 on target? 6 on target. And they got 4 goals.
Target, 4 in the back of the net.
But
yeah, I think the third goal came a little bit against the run of play. I think Cheltenham were pushing a little bit, but it made it a little bit more comfortable until Alfie May found the bottom corner with
fair play to Cheltenham.
Decent strike.
It sounded like they took them to a game.
Yeah, and then they were pushing towards the end, and it was a fantastic break forward. I can't remember his name. The ATID helped me out. He picked the ball up just outside of the 18-yard and just powered through. He muscled Ryan Broom off of it, and just set Sam Cosgrove up for a lovely first time finish. And game dead and buried at 83 minutes, isn't it? And 3 points in the bag.
The Argyle's home form's frightening.
Yeah.
Richie has asked about Oxford. What about Oxford yesterday? We are going to go to Oxford now once I can find Ipswich. There we go.
Well, we can see more on that there than we saw at the ground.
At the ground, yeah.
Worko has said it's quite amusing to see the Ipswich meltdown after giving themselves a League One trophy at the end of November as well. Completely agree.
I'm not gonna lie.
Nat, Ipswich fans not happy about the game carrying on with.
You know what I find really funny about this, right? At 1-1, they were thinking, would Tech draw be done? And to be fair, it sounded like that Carl Robinson was a little bit the same. To call it his count there. But I bet when that goal went in by Brannigan, he's like, nah, I don't want it off. No, sorry. I never wanted anything off.
Yeah.
Well, I think from reports that I've read, I think the referee's gone over at 1-1. The fog's clearly coming in a little bit and making it difficult. It's difficult conditions for both teams. This is the thing. It's both teams were playing in it. It weren't like Oxford had clear visibility and Ipswich didn't. He's gone over to the manager and said, well, both managers, and said, 75th minute, if this game gets called off now, the result as it is stands. So it'd be a 1-1 draw. Game won't get replayed. Job done. By the sounds of it, the Ipswich managers wanted to carry on because obviously they need the points to keep in touch and distance with the top two. And Robinson was quite happy to end it as a draw, but obviously needed both managers to agree with the postponement or the
decent strike from Brannigan as well. I mean, you probably wouldn't have seen that in normal conditions.
No.
Right, this is the thing, right? Because it was Bobby Madden reffing. I don't like him as a ref. I think he's a bit of a useless well, I can't say. And McKenna said at the end of the game, it wasn't right to be playing, in my opinion. You said you were wanting to carry on.
Yeah.
You can't turn around and say once you lost that it needed to be the other way round. That's not how it works.
Yeah, I think
you can't
his
turn around
post-match
and say,
press conference may have been different if it was 2-1 to them. So, yeah, you reap what you sow. Ipswich have missed an opportunity. I'll put that little joke in there.
Yes.
Yeah, they've missed an opportunity, all right. They've turned a 3-horse race into a 2-horse
Carl
race.
Robinson said, just to say what he said, so we got two sides. If they'd been totally honest, the game probably should have been called off, but had it been, we would have had the point. Once they realised that if the game was called off, the result would stand, they might not be good enough for them to get in the top two. They wanted to carry on. Again, at the end of the game, it wasn't right to be playing, in my opinion, McKenna said.
Yeah. He has that. Yeah, he's gambled a lot. Yeah.
So,
sorry,
and that's opened the gap to 7 points now.
I can actually see Carl Robinson just laughing as well at the end of the result. Because he had that kind of housery.
Yeah. I just want to touch on Forest Green against MK Dons. A massive result for MK Dons in this one. A 6-pointer towards the bottom.
And that's taken them out of the bottom four, hasn't it?
It has, and it's left Forest Green absolutely rooted to the bottom.
I'm going to make a bad joke here, but did Forest Green get the players out on their bike to warm the pitch up? You know, using electric and all that lot.
Great double from Mo Issa to pull MK Dons out of the relegation zone.
It's looking good, isn't it?
Season, I think.
Yeah, 10 out of looking good for 10 out of 18 or something like that. I think they might stay up.
Yeah,
they just got
I think Forest Green are doomed. Absolutely doomed.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what reputation they get back in League Two, because they were a bit, we're Forest Green and we're going to do this. Really work.
Well, that was through the chairman, that, weren't it?
Well, he speaks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to round off League One, Ian, you wanted to touch upon Barnsley's result. 3-1 at home.
I'm going to say they've been in quite a difficult period form-wise. They lost the last couple of league games. I think they lost did they lose in the cup as well?
I think they did.
Yeah. And they needed to turn it around and keep pace with the top six. And what a way to do it. I mean, Norwood's overhead kick was superb. And they just came at them. And I think the game was all over in the first 40 minutes or so. Yeah, they just steamrolled Stanley.
Stanley this year, because something's not right.
No, I agree.
They don't look like the same team of yesteryears.
They don't battle the same as they normally do.
Yeah.
The fighting spirit seems to be lacking a little bit.
I know
that's what Accrington were sort of known for, staying in games and nicking the odd late winner or late equaliser. That seems to have sort of like passed them by.
Off the pitch. So like building things for the stadium and stuff. And I know the chairman's had many Twitter conversations where I just think, we understand it. You're very passionate about your club, but shush.
Yeah.
The thing with
he's gone off that line a little bit, hasn't he? A time or two. Yeah.
The time where you're looking at it and you're like, I know more about what's going on behind the scenes at your club than I do my own. And I shouldn't do.
No.
James Norwood shouldn't be able to do that at his age, by the way. Not without like the next game having a bad back.
Yeah, he's probably feeling it today, like.
Probably won't.
But I mean, that puts them back in the mix, that Barnsley, doesn't it? It puts them firmly back in it.
Yeah. ATID said he's just wanting to mention so far against top six sides, we've played 6, won 4 and drawn 2. 3 of those games away as well. Ipswich, Bolton, draw and beat Derby. So
that's a good record. That can you keep it up?
I always say your home record is what's going to probably win you it. Your away record is poor. Now the thing is, your home record, when you lost that game to Vale, we saw a little blip, but it wasn't the blip we were expecting. You managed to counter it with more games. The thing is, I like both us and Wednesday to go up. I think it'll be good for both cities, especially Plymouth. They've been down here for a long time.
Oh, it should be great. Argyle being in the Championship,
but
yeah.
if you go up to the Championship, you will have to be smart with signing because you won't have a lot of money to spend, even with TV revenue.
Mm.
If you're smart, your chairman probably throw more money at maybe a training thing or more thing to that side, so you can bring in your own players. It's what I want us to do.
Focus on academy a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and a big shout out to Pompey. They actually won a game.
They're back on it, aren't they? So
the back.
the League One table.
If you listen to 4-0, they're back up in promotion race now.
Yep.
So let's have a
Interestingly,
quick
15th.
Interestingly, before we came on air, there is something that the manager can't go nick any Oxford player for 12 months.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
There we go. So a quick look at the League One table before we move on to the few games that happened in League Two. Forest Green, I think they are doomed to go back into League Two.
Burton a funny one.
It's very tight around the bottom. I think this is as tight as a playoff picture in the Championship, in my opinion, where all it takes is for one or two teams to get on a decent run of form, and it drags.
Look at Dons have shot up the table.
Yeah, two wins and a draw in their last 5. I think they were 23rd a couple of weeks ago when we were looking. So just shows how tight it is.
I've got worries about Cambridge because they are dropping and they're losing games heavily.
Yeah, getting absolutely.
He wishes he like Rotherham job now.
I'm glad he didn't actually. I'm quite happy with Matt Taylor.
At the top of the table, Plymouth still leading the way.
There's a nice gap opening between second and third.
Yeah, and that's the big one, isn't it?
I think if that gap keeps increasing, first and second could be sewn up like it is in the Championship if we're not careful.
Yeah, I agree.
It's gonna be interesting. Like I said, we got Plymouth at home and Ipswich away back to back.
There's quite a healthy gap now between Barnsley in 6th and Posh in 7th, isn't there?
I will say something. That game did help Plymouth goal difference, which I said they needed to up. Yeah. But they're still not scoring enough, and our goal difference is very healthy. And the thing is, the one thing we got is we don't concede a lot.
No, that's it, isn't it?
Mm.
People may not like the way Darren Moore playing football with hoofball or how it is. There's a certain way how you get out of League One. It's never pretty. It's never nice. The only team to get out of this league who played pretty football was Sheffield United. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. It wasn't that long ago either, was it? Mm.
So, a healthy gap opening up between second and third, and then playoffs. Again, anybody's to play for, isn't it?
I still don't think.
Well, I would have said that from Ipswich, Derby, Bolton, and Barnsley look clear, don't they? Because, like I said, the fight is a good gap between Posh and Barnsley.
But I think
Bolton have played 27 though, so two games.
Yeah, you've got to win them though.
Yeah, they have. But it could tighten everything up. So moving on.
And as for that question about Oxford with the playoffs, nah.
Not now.
I think they've left themselves too much to do. I mean, they can beat anybody on the day.
Anyone for playoffs, it's Bristol Rovers.
Possibly, yeah.
I just don't see Darren Ferguson fixing the Posh, and I don't see Ainsworth's style of football being able to get what they need.
No, they won't lose many. They won't concede many goals, Wickham, but I don't think they'll get the wins.
I will say now, it was nice to do the same thing to them, though. It's lovely.
On to League Two. So League Two, there wasn't many games in this one. Only 3 games played on Saturday. Ian, you went to one of them, a top of the table clash, first versus second. Talk us through that one, mate.
Well, I think it's the highest EFL attendance at the Lamex Stadium since they became a Football League club. I think we're just short of 7,000 there. I was stood on the terracing on the side of the pitch, if you've ever been to Stevenage, and it were really sardines in a tin. It were absolutely packed solid. And Stevenage put the performance in that the gate really warranted. They were brilliant from start to finish.
I'm surprised Leyton didn't even put a glove on them by lots of stats.
Yeah. Reed started it off. Were just umped up from the keeper. Sweeney nodded it off on the edge of the box, and Reed just nodded it past the keeper. That was 1-0 after 6 minutes. Then Jordan Roberts scored a really good goal, cut him from the right-hand side onto his left foot, knocked it past the keeper, 2-0 after 11 minutes, and that was virtually game over. Orient tried to come back into it. They had one or two speculative efforts, either wide or over the top, and then there were a red card. That El Missouri, who yellow carded earlier in the first half, there were a challenge in centre circle, and he put his hand on the ball thinking he was going to get a free kick.
Right.
And the keeper, the referee, I think it was Scott Oldham, deemed it deliberate handball, and it was a second yellow, and they were off. And it was game over from them. From then on, second half, Stevenage just kept coming forward. They had one or two efforts, either just wide or parried by the keeper. Orient just were never in this game at all. And then it was just a break on halfway. Luke Morris beat the offside trap and slotted it under the keeper. 3-0, game over.
It's a weird one how Leyton Orient just didn't turn up. Yeah,
it is really.
Considering how good.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, ATID. Thanks. It was Leyton Orient looked like a mid to lower end League Two side, because Stevenage did look that good. And although it pains me to say it, that Steve Evans has done a fantastic job down there.
Yeah.
He's galvanised the troops, and a lot of those players, Stevenage players, were squad members in the 2 previous seasons that they nearly went out of the Football League.
But
so he's got a lot of those players still there, but they're playing like men possessed.
Well, my question for you, Ian, at the end of the season, is he going to put a sombrero on?
No, because they're not playing at Ellen Road. No, that is still embarrassing.
I don't like Steve Evans, but there is also part of me that likes him, if that makes sense, because he's a character.
Yeah,
like Marmite, isn't he?
He's not the most media savvy guy that's ever walked the earth, but he's effective.
Is that a nice way of saying he's a little bit of a twat?
Absolutely. I mean, he did wonders with the Millers for 3 or 4 seasons.
Yeah,
but the way he plays football, I mean, he had a target.
When we say managers need longevity, he's the kind of manager that gives clubs that, doesn't he? He has a style. He knows what he needs. He knows how to build everything back up.
He knows exactly. He's got Rayner at the side of him. He's got Alex Revel, that's the first team coach, and they're obviously playing from the same hymn sheet. Yeah. And they've got them really fired up this season. I mean, how can I put it? They don't shirk out of 50-50s. They go for every ball, whether they can get it or not. Typical blood and thunder League Two stuff, but they're very, very good at it.
It's just what you. And also, the one thing that Steve Evans does, he never really leaves the team in a bad way once he's been there. They're always better for after him being. This is hurting me because I'm praising Steve Evans, but he always leaves teams in a good position once he's been. And
but he always seems to leave clubs under a cloud.
Yeah,
doesn't he? He did at Leeds, he did at Rotherham, and he did it to an extent at Mansfield, because I think he fell out with one of the Radford clan at Mansfield.
It's the thing is, you can't, as much as I don't like him, you always have to just look at it and go, kind of thing. So good result.
But if he's ever out of work, like we were discussing earlier on, if he's ever out of work and a club are in trouble they could do a lot worse than call for Evans.
Taxi for Steve Evans to go to Cardiff.
Hey, stranger things have happened.
I know.
Yeah, definitely. But that
Now you
result,
want to whip through the Danker, you could have go.
just looking at the table here, that's pulled Stevenage within 2 points of Leyton Orient
With a game in hand.
With a game in hand as well. So, yeah.
And a massive, massive, massive shout out for Gills in the Blood and Gillingham. What a result that was.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this just before we finish off because we're hurtling towards the hour mark and I need to cook dinner for Vicky's birthday. So I've got to go. We've got to wrap it up very shortly before I get into bother and I'm not allowed to do another live stream.
Well, I thought you were getting some brownie points, Dan.
Yeah, I need to, mate. Yeah. I think I'm in my overdraft on brownie points at the minute. So Colchester against Gillingham. There's a feel-good factor coming back at Gillingham, isn't there?
There is. It's like this mini little takeover. Whatever's happened that actually helped a little bit, and they're starting to turn things around. If they can pull off the miracle of the season, it'll be a huge result. I don't know where that leaves you with Harry. Do you let him have another season? Personally, I don't know if you say, look, clean slate for you, new ownership, go try something different and go with that. But we said it'll be 1 or 2 results that will get them over the line. Like, get that feel.
And also, Jake, they seem to have recruited very well.
Yeah, I was just about to say that this month has been phenomenal. Tom Nichols, what a signing that is.
The summer recruitment felt like they were just trying to build something just for the sake of it. This actually feels like they're wanting to build something, and he got the backing.
Yeah.
And don't remember this, no, Collier were banging form as well, so that makes it an even better result. Yeah.
I mean, looking statistically, Gillingham have not run away with this game, have they? 36% possession. They've had less shots on target. So as a Colchester fan or somebody looking at this game from outside, you'd look and think Colchester have been done here a little bit, but Gillingham fans
looks like a bit of a smash and grab, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. But I've watched Gills in the Blood's vlog, and
it's nice to see him happy again.
Yeah, he was buzzing, weren't he? It's so nice.
Oh, he were buzzing, yeah.
But yeah, this is the first time this season that Gillingham have got back-to-back wins, and I mean, 2 goals.
Also,
I believe that takes them into
a damaging defeat for Rochdale at Hartlepool. Really damaging.
But those 2 goals, I think this is a momentous occasion.
I think this will pull them out.
Finally in double figures for goals scored this season.
I think it'll
fantastic.
Pull it out.
Is it nearly end of January?
Yeah.
I think it'll pull it out. They'll pull out of it, and I'm gonna say Crawley Town going to go down.
Possibly.
Yeah, it's a bit of a circus on field, isn't it?
Hartlepool look like an okay run club. Crawley Town look like they're absolutely useless behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Why is it this entire episode I've been talking about club behind the scenes, but it has been the case.
Yeah.
Inside info, Jake.
I mean, again, Crawley's got a lot of games in hand, but games in hand are no good. Points are what they need.
It just gets harder and harder. It just keeps getting harder.
Anthony, can't believe I missed it again. Like my school report, must try harder.
Oh, good timing.
Do not worry. Do not worry, because this goes on the channel and you can watch it at your leisure throughout the week. And obviously get your comments in throughout the week and I will try to get back to them as well. But yeah, bottom of the table, Rochdale looking doomed. I think Gillingham this may be a honeymoon period.
It's given Gillingham a chance.
Yeah, definitely. The 2 wins have just completely changed the outlook of the bottom of the table, hasn't it? Like you say, Hartlepool look a little bit better run than what Crawley do. So I think, Crawley or Harrogate are going to get dragged into that bottom 2 for me, I think. Moving to the top of the table, so not much change here. Obviously, only 3 games played, but that win for Stevenage has put them in.
It just looks like a 2-way battle for the title, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Have they said when your games in hand are going to be, Dan?
We've got Harrogate coming up, I think, in March, but the 2 that we've had postponed over the last 2 weeks, there's nothing been said about them yet.
It's like the old Rotherham thing when they had all those games due to the COVID. When
we were playing 4 games in 10 days.
There's going to be a couple of teams that do that in League 2 this year.
Yeah. It never ends well.
No,
definitely not. Anthony's got one thing to say. He's come late, but he's going to say it anyway. Only thing I want to say is shame on Blackpool. Part of promotion to the Championship is undersoil heating. Idiots.
They do have undersoil heating. It's just rubbish.
We don't have it at Rotherham and we're in Championship.
There's a lot of them that don't have it.
There is.
We literally
Tony Stewart would have a babby, or even with quote.
we literally had it on Friday. We had fire engines at Hillsborough because people thought it was on fire. It was the steam from the underpitch soil heating.
Yeah.
God's sake.
Yeah.
Place has gone mad, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, Dan's got to go cook his missus a dinner because she's getting hungry, and we want him to be able to do a live stream next week. So we'll let him go cook his other meal. And hopefully we'll have a Dan next week if Vicky hasn't buried him on the patio.
Of course we will. I can cook some decent scran. We'll be all right.
Are you any good as a cook, Dan?
Say again?
Are you any good?
I'm all right.
Cooking?
Yeah, I can whip a few things up. I'm all right.
When he says whip a few things up, he means he's getting his phone out and ordering takeaway.
So you can open the tin of beans then?
Yeah, pretty much. But no, that takes us to the end of episode 21 of the 72 review. Once again, thanks to Jake and Ian for giving their insight and talking EFL. Well, all things
nice
EFL
to have a
from
pub
this
chat
weekend.
back again this week.
Yeah, the chat's been pretty busy as well, which is always nice to see. Ian, any final words before I round it off?
No, I enjoyed it. Thank you. And we'll be back again next week.
Lovely stuff. Jake,
I might touch on an FA Cup tie I'm going to, which is Blackburn against Birmingham, but
I'm going to play Fleetwood again. Yeah.
Millers aren't playing, so I don't need to have one eye on any other results. So.
No, definitely not. Jake,
I can enjoy it.
Any final words before we go, mate?
Just keep warm, everyone, because it's freezing. Hopefully, it's going to get a bit better this week. And yeah, I've got Cheltenham and Fleetwood again, and I want to cut run. I don't want to cut run. I don't know. I've gone really bipolar with the FA Cup.
Well, you keep getting buys, don't you? Home games against non-entity teams like Newcastle.
Nappers is going to really fall out with you soon.
Yeah, this might be the end of the 72 review. But no, once again, thank you everybody for giving up over an hour of your Sunday evening to listen to us.
It's always over an hour.
Yeah, definitely.
It's never short.
So, as always, if you've enjoyed it, big thumbs up on it for us, please. Comments in the section down below if you're watching on repeat. Subscribe to all 3 channels that we represent. And all that's left for me to say is thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.